A radar detector for less than the price of a single speeding ticket? Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm up in Breckenridge, Colorado at 9,600 foot elevation. Not a lot of oxygen up here, but there are a lot of roads, and getting here is a really interesting and beautiful drive, and a perfect opportunity to test out this. This is the Cobra RAD 500G radar detector, and you know what? It's pretty nice. It's a real entry-level unit, so it's not $399 or $499. There are a lot of really fancy ones, but for the price, this packs a lot of capabilities. It's a GPS receiver, and what that means is that it actually has the ability to know what's in the area when you're driving through. So it'll trigger things like there's a red light camera, or there's a speed camera, or there's a known speed trap coming up. All of it will just be displayed right on the front. And they do that by using something called the Aura database, and it's a location-based alert system. Very slick. So there are all sorts of buttons and settings and options and all this stuff. You don't have to do any of them. The way I did this was I plugged this in, I used the windshield mount to plug it in, and then it went straight into the 12-volt power adapter, aka cigarette lighter, and then it just sat on the dashboard. Actually facing me, it sat on the dashboard, just at the very bottom of the windshield, and did a great job. So here, for example, is what you see when there is something that it's sensed, but it's pretty far away, and you know it's far away because there's only a single bar. As I got closer to cops on the side of the road or speed traps, then the display got a lot more exciting. Generally, though, it just had a little bar that went back and forth, which reminded me a lot of like the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. I know, kind of geeky. I own it. So this is not one that pairs with your phone and gives you all the controls there. So everything's right here on board, which is nice. It's simple. So there's volume control, and I've found when I put the volume really low, it worked just fine. It would just still flash, and I would be able to see right there, right on the windshield, that something's coming up. Let me drop it down a couple of miles per hour. So one of the great things about a GPS-based radar detector is you can lock out false alerts. But really, these devices are kind of just as much about not alerting you incorrectly as they are about alerting you for active live issues. So they have an updatable IVT filter to help with false alarms. They have anti-falsing circuitry. There's just a lot of stuff that they have that helps you ensure that you aren't going to actually have this go off every time you go by a supermarket door. You don't want that. And by the way, supermarkets with their automatic doors, some radar detectors actually see those as threats. That's not a threat unless you're driving into the supermarket and the door's not opening. Not an issue for me. So let's see, what else can I tell you is that it supports detection of instant on radar, because some cops are getting pretty sneaky with their radar systems. So this supports that. And it also can recognize laser eye either in front or behind you. So for that, it needs to have a reasonably clear line of sight through the back window. So sometimes I tried using it when it was actually in the sort of lower stick shift area, and that worked really well for generic detection, but obviously that's not going to help me with the laser eye. So generally, you want to have it on your windshield somewhere, and I think that will help it work better. I like it. It's very simple. Cobra, I think, makes really nice radar detectors. I'm not a huge fan of driving crazy fast, but when I'm on long road trips, I also don't want to be stuck right at the speed limit. So having some knowledge that over the next hill, there's a cop sitting is a darn beneficial thing. Now, I want to hasten to tell you that radar detectors are not okay if you're in Virginia or Washington, D.C. So if you're going to use this there, be super low-key and stealthy about it, or possibly just unplug it, and then when you get out of Virginia, you can plug it back in and keep yourself safe. So, like I said, it's pretty darn inexpensive. The cost of speeding tickets can be crazy, like $200, $300, $400, $500. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. So something like this is a much better investment ahead of time. And there's no points, there's no potential jail time, there's no having to do traffic school, which, as anyone who has done it knows, is super tedious and not a fun way to spend a day. And traffic school costs money too. So it's not like it's a freebie. Okay, so the only thing I want to talk about is price still. But before we get there, let me ask if you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate when you subscribe, and give me some feedback on this video too. I'm still trying to figure out how to breathe up here. Really, 9,600 feet. I feel like I'm on my way up to Everest. It's pretty high altitude. But it is worth it because it's beautiful here. The Cobra RAD 500G radar detector. It will cost you $199.85 at Amazon.com. But do your online shopping wisely. I found it at Sam's Club for $149.98. That's $50 cheaper. That's a pretty good deal. $150 for this, all ready to go with all of these features. That's a no-brainer for anyone who's doing road trips or anyone who just has a heavy foot on their gas pedal. So I say check it out, and I will catch you in my next video.